Well. What a day already. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Alarm Fantasy Football. I'm Howard Bender, the guy with the glazed over look on his face right there. That's Andrew Cooper. You guys know him at Coupe Fiasco on the old Twitter machine. I'm at Roto Buzz Guy. What happened to our participants' names? Let's get our names up there so that everybody can take a look and see. Look at all of that. Well, unbelievable here. We thank everybody for tuning into Alarm Fantasy Football. It's NFL Week 7, and it's already started off with an absolute heater of a morning. And listen, we could just show it right now. The question or the first take right there. Our boy Jerry Nelson in the house. Can't wait to hear Bender on Adams going to the Jets. That's the news you woke up to today, people. Davante Adams traded to the New York Jets for a conditional third-round pick that could be a second-round pick. On top of all of that, we just get word now that Russell Wilson has been taking first-team reps with the Pittsburgh Steelers now, and that he is expected to start this week's game. Oh, and guess what? Sunday Night Football, Davante Adams and the New York Jets against Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers. It could not have been a more chaotic morning. Coop, how are you feeling?
What in tarnation?
I wish I could mop your brow. Let me just get something over there. Mop today, your head there. Oh my Lord.
As you and I talked about, today also happens to be my wife and I's wedding anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
I'm sorry, Howard, that's canceled. I canceled that. Too much going on. We moved it to Friday. Anniversaries moved to Friday. We're talking football today and tonight on Sirius XM. But man, what a day, dude! You got a video out on Davante Adams. I've got an article up, 700 or so words on the implications. So we got that all going. We got waivers running today. We got Russell Wilson in the house. Surprise, surprise! The starting quarterback is going to start for the Steelers. And man, it couldn't be crazier right now. So what do you want to hit on first, Phil?
We might as well just start with the Jets, right? If Jerry wants to know what I'm thinking, right. I mean, listen, I said this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. It happened actually a week after I originally thought that they were going to make this happen, but the loss to Buffalo obviously expedites it because here it is, and I said it in the video as well, and you guys can check like that full breakdown from me there. But Rodgers gets the second item crossed off his wish list right now. No more Robert Saleh. Bring me Davante Adams, and now we can pretend like the 2018 Green Bay Packers are going to be Super Bowl champions in the New York Jets uniform. So overall, Aaron Rodgers' value stays the same, fantasy-wise. Davante Adams, he gets a bump because he's going to get double-digit targets from a QB who absolutely adores him and only wants to throw him the football. Garrett Wilson, this is where it takes a hit because what's he going to do? Is he going to get like 6 to 8 targets per game as the wide receiver too? If you're force-feeding targets to Davante Adams and Davante Adams is going to see double-digit targets, what's left for Garrett Wilson? Because then you also have to feed Allen Lazard, whose value doesn't change at all in fantasy either. Maybe it takes like a little bit of a hit knowing that Garrett Wilson is still there, but Rodgers doesn't like Garrett Wilson. And you saw that in the game against the Bills last night where they were, not on the same page on the regular. Allen Lazard knows where Aaron Rodgers wants him to be. Davante Adams knows where Aaron Rodgers wants him to be. And so those two guys are going to gel beautifully. And unless Rodgers is going to throw 50 to 60 times per game, there's just no room for Garrett Wilson to see that same, kind of a target share. And so that's a disaster. So bump for Adams, drop for Wilson, stays the same for Allen Lazard, probably stays the same for Breece Hall, although I'll bet you he sees fewer targets now because you can just dump it off to Davante Adams and you can dump it off to Allen Lazard. So,
right.
It wasn't getting huge targets, but I'm sure that there's going to be a little bit of a decrease. And then finally, just say, I know, look at you. You're like, I
know.
Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, and Mike Williams, bye-bye. He's
I,
gone.
I imagine Aaron Rodgers took that clip of Mike Williams running the wrong route and falling down and just brought that into Joe Douglas's office on an iPad.
Yeah. Oh, he's like, look at this.
Yeah,
Look at this crap.
let me show you the problem right here. Right, circle that right there. I will say for Brees Hall, like the thing is, you could have made an argument that maybe a rising tide lifts all ships and the offense working better means more goal line touches for him. But Braylon Allen has been getting a bunch of those. So it's like now you don't even get the guarantee of like, okay, maybe the offense is working better. He's going to get those looks. Plus, Aaron Rodgers likes to call his own number at the 3-yard line anyway. He likes to throw it from there, not run it. So yeah, it's a tough situation. And I'll tell you what, people are making the argument for Garrett Wilson that, okay, well, what if this turns into a a Devontae Adams and AJ Brown situation or a Chris Godwin and Mike Evans situation? The fact of the matter is everything would need to go exactly perfectly, and Alan Lazard would have to fall on the back burner for that to happen. And no matter how you slice it, the top comes off because we just watched Garrett Wilson get 20 targets, right, in a game. That's out the window now because there's no times where, as much as we love Chris Godwin, as much as we love T. Higgins, as much as we love Devonta Smith, when everyone's healthy, there's no times where those guys get 20 targets. There's no times where those guys get 15 targets. This is not a Malik Neighbors situation anymore where there's just one guy. So no matter what, the ceiling is gone, Howard. And I agree with you that now things are probably more flat and spread out than they are just going to be the top two guys and then no one else gets the ball. So I'd say the one takeaway that I do like is that I don't ever have to answer a Tyler Conklin question again, which that's nice. I feel that's nice. So at least we got that one benefit on it. And the thing is, the article was easy to write on the Raiders side because we've now seen 2 games without Devontae Adams already. We know what it looks like without Devontae Adams. We know what it looks like without Jacoby Myers. So, like, you've already seen it. We don't even need to speculate on that front. It's just take everything that we were saying about Brock Bowers the last 2 weeks and just mark that down permanently rest of the season. So that's at least nice.
So gross, so grimy. Like, I mean, again, this is, and I think I equated it in my one of my group chats with a lot of Jets fans out there, and I was like, you know what, this is the 2024 New York Jets equal the 1994 New York Rangers minus the championship and the cool factor. Because like the Rangers, when they brought everybody over from Edmonton who won championships over there, right? Like they were still cool. Like Messier was the bomb,
cool.
and Graves and Bukaboom, these guys were awesome, right? And it really just New York vibed off of that. Now it's like the only people who are really like vibing off of, Devontae Adams and Alan Lazard, the 2018 Packers, lining up here as the 2024 New York Jets. Literally the only people who are there right now who are like psyched about this are also the same people who, when I bitch and moan about Aaron Rodgers being a selfish player, start coming at me about, being, an anti-vaxxer, or them being anti-vaxxers, and me saying that, I hate Aaron Rodgers because of that. That's who's happy right now. Right. That's who's happy right now. The people who insist on bringing their stupid politics into football when all I'm talking about is the stupid game that's on the stupid field.
It's the same. The same. I hope there's not a huge overlap of Jets fans and Nets fans who were happy when the Nets went out and remember they went and got Paul Pierce and the big ticket after they won with the Celtics. I mean, it's the same vibes, right? It's like you're chasing something that has gone by. But hey,
it's such a hot mess. I don't know why are our names in Steelers colors right now?
I don't know.
That's a little disappointing because I guess now we're just going to have to turn over to the Pittsburgh Steelers and just kind of talk about that. Now, Coop and I are going to be on the Fantasy Alarm Show on Sirius XM Fantasy this whole week, except for Friday, where he gets to actually celebrate his anniversary.
Postponed.
I'll be on a solo show on Friday, but we are bringing some, obviously Josh Wagner, Sham Blunt, our producers are big Steelers fans. But my buddy Ryan Stasek, the bassist from Humphreys McGee, huge Steelers fan. He's going to join us on the show on Sirius XM on Wednesday night. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. But I mean, let's sort it out. Is this a good move for the Pittsburgh Steelers making this switch from Justin Fields to Russell Wilson?
I'll tell you what. As far as a winning move, and again, we like to focus on fantasy football. The team was winning, right? So you got to, at least as a Steelers fan, and I know, I talked to Herms, who's a big Steelers fan. He's not liking the move much. But I got to say this, if they're in the house and they're evaluating these guys and they believe that they can be the same team but better with this change, then I got to lean into what Mike Tomlin thinks. And the beautiful thing about it is that you can always go back. I mean, is this going to ruin Justin Fields' confidence to have him go back to being the backup, which he was? Hard to say. I will say this from a fantasy standpoint, though. I want to see what it looks like with Russell Wilson. Justin Fields throwing for 145 yards, 112 yards. Let me see Russ. Let Russ cook. Let's see if we can get George Pickens going. Let's see if we can fire up those Muths in our lineup. Because the thing is, the difference between 3 and 4 targets for a tight end and 4 and 5 targets is the difference between the guys you can start and the guys you can't start. And the difference between the guys that win leagues is 4 and 5 targets versus 6 and 7. I'm telling you right now, we've done the math for years and years and years. You need 100 targets to be wide receiver 2. You need 90 to have top 5 upside. That's 5 or 6 targets out. If Freiermuth can get 5 or 6 quality targets and score a touchdown here or there, you don't have to think about tight end there anymore. And boy, am I hoping that happens. I'm hoping that happens. I'm hoping they let Roman Wilson play because I'm tired of seeing Van Jefferson go out there and get 0 targets. How is he getting 0 targets?
How do you play? He's a great blocker downfield.
Must be an incredible blocker because Arthur Smith packed him up and brought him with him. And he ran 43 snaps last week and didn't get a single target. And he probably got the game ball from Arthur Smith. Like, let's just see Roman Wilson, please. Please. It can't be worse. It can't be worse.
It can't be worse. I mean, listen, you gotta. I hope to bump up Pickens. I hope to bump up Freiermuth. The rest of the crew, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, it really doesn't. Although I would like to see like Jaylen Warren come back healthy and get some extra checkdowns because
something. Yes,
checkdowns
are back on the menu. Checkdowns are back on the menu, right? It's like all those little plays that turned into 8-yard runs for Justin Fields now could turn into dump downs for Muth, dump downs for Warren, spreading the ball around. And again, if Russ is fully healthy, like he showed a little mobility last year. He had a couple rushing touchdowns. Like it's not like this guy's a statue. It's not like you're throwing Jared Goff out there who runs like a 4.8. I mean, he can still scamper a little bit. I watched Joe Flacco just run for 40 yards on a play the other day. Like this guy can still move better than half these guys, better than Baker ever could. The list goes on. Stafford. So I don't know. I'm kind of excited. I know people are pissed. People that were starting Justin Fields in fantasy, womp womp. People that drafted Justin Fields on underdog, getting kind of rug pulled here. But there's a lot of us that we're kind of looking at Russell Wilson. I'm stopping short of maybe like snagging him off waivers, but in your Superflex leagues, if he's floating around, absolutely.
Listen, I was talking about it. I mean, the Steelers have the Jets and then the Giants. Then they have a bye week. 2 tough defenses for him to face for his first 2 games there, but then he gets the time off and then he gets to regroup. I have no problem stashing Russell Wilson right now. I did the waiver wire video yesterday, and I said, stash Russell Wilson. I know you're going to hate this, Coop, but I said I'd rather stash Russell Wilson and patch up this week with Matthew Stafford against the Raiders than to have to go and invest all this money in Drake May because you know that the rookie QBs are going to get like all that buzz, and 243 yards and 3 touchdowns is going to bump the price up on waivers for Drake May. So I'd rather just kind of go with the old crusty veterans, as you I think that's how you put it yesterday.
First of all, boo. Second of all, I rest my case actually.
Right, let's go team no fun.
Team no fun, yeah. You're right though. I mean, like the thing is, like with adding Drake May, you gotta understand that like he threw some really bad picks. He had the fumble. He could come out this week and it could look like an absolute dumpster fire, and then you got nothing because you can't start. It's already risky to start that guy. If he comes out and throws 3 picks and has no touchdowns, then you're just back at square one. So if you're like, I do like the idea of having Drake May on my bench if my starter is someone like Geno Smith, right? Where I'm like, okay, it is what it is. Brock Purdy, even if I'm like, I got a back end QB1, I like having Drake May on the bench. I don't like having Drake May as my starting quarterback just yet, if I can avoid it.
Yeah, you're throwing the just yet right in
Just
there.
yet.
Let's say hi to everybody in the chat before we go through, and we'll do all the waiver wire talk here today. Obviously, Coop's got the articles up at fantasyalarm.com talking about your must adds, your streamers, your stashes. I threw some preliminary names out on the waiver wire watch list video as well. All that available at fantasyalarm.com. If you don't have a subscription, this QR code, that one right up there in the corner. Oh, see it? That one. Zap that. Or just go to fantasyalarm.com/all-pro. Sign up. We're still running that 7-day free trial. I don't think our marketing department has woken up yet and realized that they still have that active. So you might as well just take advantage of it right now.
I
Right?
don't think they know that that's active because they told us it was going to be down, but it just worked yesterday. So.
Go ahead and get everything that we do for week 8 for free. Go ahead, do it.
And I'll tell you guys this. We're going to try and hit on everything here. And I also break down the waiver wire into different categories, like the best picks, the stashes, the streamers. But there's nothing like the Discord where Dan Malin's in there all the time. Howard's in there for 2 hours on game day. I have my own page where just today, our guy Raiders5252 came in and broke it down for me. He said, hey, I'm actually my team's doing really good. I'm 5-1. Here's what I have. I'm not looking to add somebody to start for my team. I'm looking for the best possible upside stash, right? That's the kind of advice you get in there. You can post screenshots of your team. You can do all that. We're doing our best here in the chat, so get your questions in, but you can't post your screenshot. You can't type up some big, long comment. Getting in the Discord is how you get that one-of-one help that really helps you crush and dominate your leagues, as the league members in the chat will tell you. And there's a lot of them hanging out here today. I see Jerry. I see Luke. I see Ann. A lot of the family in the house, Fatty McFat. So
Eric's in there as well, as is Mojo, who just wants to get down to business. No pleasantries or anything like that. Mojo just says, which is the better pickup for defense, the Eagles or the Bengals?
Yeah. So you got the Bengals this week, and the Bengals are actually in my streamers article 100% for 2 reasons here. The Bengals not only have a good matchup this week against the Cleveland Browns, the best possible matchup you could have right now, considering how bad the quarterback play has been, but as our own Howard Bender correctly predicted, getting Sheldon Rankins back was huge. I was saying, I was like, oh, and I got bailed out by Tyron Tracy catching 6 passes, so suck it. But still, Howard was like, I wouldn't start Tyron Tracy because the run defense is going to be a lot better with BJ Hill and Sheldon Rankins, and they were better with Sheldon Rankins and BJ Hill. So that defense is better than they've been. They're kind of the high risk, high reward play. The Eagles this week, who do they have? They have the Giants. So also not a bad matchup, but they've been pretty leaky on the pass front, and we expect Malik Neighbors to be back. So I actually probably would go Bengals there.
All right, beautiful. Saying hi to everybody here. Albert Moroccan, what's going on? Mile High Luke, as you said. Jerry Nelson wishing you a happy anniversary. But Jerry says Devontae Adams is in New Jersey right now as we speak, taking a physical. What a surprise that his hamstring's totally fine.
Interesting.
I can't believe it.
Funny how that happens, dude.
Unbelievable. Mojo, though, bringing us back to business here. He's got Diggs. He's got Mooney. He's got Pop Douglas for wide receivers this week. Should he swap one of them out for Juju or Shakir in a standard league?
So I would actually go with Juju this week in a standard league. Pop Douglas is more of a gadget player. You're not going to see much of what you saw this week. He's a very low A-dot player, and so is Shakir. Shakir and all those guys are kind of low A-dot guys. Juju, surprisingly, didn't pick up the screens. Mecole Hardman picked up the 4 screens. I'm hoping Juju gets a couple this week. But Juju was running intermediate routes, was running delayed routes, clearly was on the same page. And I think he's got the better, similar target upside for all of them, but he's got the better A-dot upside, which in standard is actually so important. Because so many times in standard, people are like starting Josh Downs and Wan'Dale Robinson and Pop Douglas, and they're like, why does everyone love these guys? They're not even good. It's because Wan'Dale Robinson gets 12 targets and catches 8 of them for 45 yards. And in standard, that's what, 4.5 points? Like, you got to know your format.
Yep, definitely. I'm in agreement there as far as Juju goes. Look at this. Son of a DJ, Eric. Someone dropped Tua in my league as Richardson is my only starting core, as my only QB. Should I prioritize picking up Tua? I mean, listen, from one broken QB to another.
Yeah, depends what you have out there. Depends what you have out there on the wire. I will say this about Tua down the stretch. I don't mind stashing him at all, considering. I mean, people don't like to talk about it, but once upon a time, the big name of today, Devontae Adams, people were saying that he should retire. He got 3 concussions in 3 games, in 2 years. One really, really bad one on a hit by Thomas Davis, and people said he should quit, and then he didn't, and then he had 10,000 yards after that. So Tua and his doctors will decide if he wants to play. They say he's going to play. I'm going to plan like he's going to play. Not my decision to make. So that's my 2 cents on it. Brandon Cooks, a bunch of these guys, they said should quit. They didn't quit. They're still good football players.
Moving along here, Big Breakfast wants to know about trading Ayuk straight up for Derrick Henry. I'm assuming this is Derrick Henry and not Hunter Henry. 10-team dynasty. Ayuk is my wide receiver 5. Absolutely make that move.
Yeah. Henry has been incredible, man.
Absolutely
incredible.
make that
and
move.
Shout out to that username. Who doesn't like a big breakfast?
Dude.
Everyone loves a big breakfast.
You know what, dude? Let me just show you what I had for breakfast again today, huh? Little Soldier Boy beef jerky.
Hey, what size is that bag?
This bag is net weight 3 ounces.
Okay, good. That's the one I'm going to get because I'm trying to decide, and I'm like thinking to myself, I had like the half-pound bag in there, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, a half-pound is so much jerky. I feel like I'm not even sure I could eat that much before it goes bad. So I thought 3 ounce sounds right.
Well, I don't know, man. I had 4 of these on Sunday.
So you had about a half-pound.
So I had 12 ounces is what? How much? I don't know the conversions. I was told there would be no math. Either way, Big Breakfast. We do love that name. That's maple jerky that we got from Soldier Boy. Tastes like breakfast. It really does. So I dig on that. Eric wants to know here, do you think Mike Williams gets dealt to a new team like KC? Is he worth getting ahead and adding? I'll say this. Could I see him going to another team? Absolutely. He's only on a 1-year deal, and I could see the Jets just making him available for a song. The question is where is he going to go? Because I don't think he's going to KC. I don't think KC wants him or needs him. They've got, Xavier Worthy. They've got Juju Smith-Schuster. They've got Travis Kelce. They've got their backfield is all set. Kareem Hunt catches passes. I just don't know if there's really enough, like if there's a desire to pay for a guy like Mike Williams to join the team mid-season when you've already got a healthier, faster field stretcher in Xavier Worthy. So I don't really know. Like, where would Mike Williams end up? What do you think?
You think like, okay, so the teams that could use him, obviously the Chiefs. You think about former coaches. That's a lot of the case, right? But Kellen Moore and the Eagles don't really need him. No. He did play for Anthony Lynn, who is now with the Commanders, and they don't really have a second guy. Anthony Lynn now the RB coach over there, so maybe he capes up for him. That could be a spot where he would have some value. But I think this one's more of a try and add him if and when it happens. Most of us don't have a bench spot for that kind of speculation.
Yeah, I really don't. Maybe he goes to the Steelers by Sunday.
I mean, actually, I don't know if I'm trying to protect Freiermuth at all costs, but
I would too. But
it's not crazy.
Better option for flex play here: Tutu Atwell or Ray McCloud. I mean, they're both kind of. I'd probably stick with Ray McCloud just because you are getting Cooper Kupp back soon. You are also getting Puka Nacua back at some point soon.
Yeah. I'll keep this short. So check out the streamers article at Fantasy Alarm. I kind of deliberated what happens when Cooper Kupp gets back and also Puka Nacua. If you really think about it, the guy that has the most overlapping skill set with Cooper Kupp is Jordan Whittington. So, and then if you look at who's been performing the worst, it's Demarcus Robinson. So when Cooper Kupp comes back, I actually think Tutu Atwell is probably safe of the 3, most safe. So I actually don't mind him as a streamer. I still like Ray in PPR, but I think Tutu's the best streamer of those 3 guys. And you're hoping that he can hold on to the role when Cooper Kupp and Nacua come back, unless they just want to go 3 Cooper Kupps out there with Whittington, Kupp, and Nacua, which could be kind of cool too. But I think Tutu's probably the better one of the 3, but I still have Ray.
Evan Gittleman in the house here. He got offered Devon Achane and Brian Thomas Jr. for Pollard and DK. Which side do you like more? Pollard and
Pollard and
DK.
DK, yeah.
Yeah, that's not even close.
The two guys that are playing good or the two guys that are playing bad?
Versus the guy who can't stay healthy and the guy who just hasn't.
I get the upside of it. But both DK and Pollard also have upside.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that one at all. Just kind of rolling through here, seeing some questions. Joshua K says, Superflex, half-point PPR. Do I drop Tracy to pick up Wilson? I have Stroud, Goff, Fields at QB. I have Kamara, Monty, Moss, Dowdle, Irving, Tracy as running backs. Can't drop wide receivers or McBride.
I would actually drop Irving. I would drop Irving to do it. Just because I hate the three-headed monster comments. And
why don't you just drop Justin Fields for Russell Wilson?
Yeah, I think he's worried about getting rug pulled on the flip-flop in the quarterback.
You know what? I'd rather get rug pulled than hand somebody a starting running back. Like, I'm not going to be, listen, I'm not going to be afraid. How long is it taken for Bucky Irving to actually have a legitimate role in that offense with Rachaad White there? So if Rachaad White comes out there, do we really genuinely think that that what's his face is going to,
yeah. And you got to, when you watch
steal carries,
when you watch the Sean Tucker clips, you also got to ask yourself, is this a play that only Sean Tucker could have made? Or is this a play that a lot of the running backs in this league would have made? I mean, he caught a pass, a guy slipped, right? He ran it down the middle of the field. Yeah. It's like, I like the idea of Tucker in Dynasty, but I don't know. I feel like I know I'm higher on Tracy than you are. That's why
I don't want to drop Tracy. I just want to drop Justin Fields. Let that take somebody else's, let that be somebody else's issue, or give yourself like 2 weeks, because they're not gonna put in Russell Wilson on Sunday and then immediately yank him back for Justin Fields against the Giants, and then what? And then sit and sort it out on the bye week. You're getting at least 2 weeks of Russell Wilson as the starting quarterback, and then you've got the bye week and then coming back. So you're telling me that something on your roster can't sort itself out over the next 2 to 3 weeks, that you can't afford to drop Justin Fields? If somebody wants to add Justin Fields and let that bench spot take up that bench spot, let them. I don't know. That's
super flex. Shallow bench super flex leagues sounds like a nightmare.
How does that sound like a shallow bench when you've got Kamara, Monty, Moss, Dowdle, Irving, and Tracy all sitting on your roster, along with a third quarterback, and I don't even know how many wide receivers he's got?
I like at least 50 roster spots in my super flex leagues.
Minimum. Oh, look, our 50. Buddy Jack Sensen's kissing your ass here.
Yeah.
Polk is a buy.
So I lost so much money on Jalen Polk. You suck. I lost so much money on Jalen Polk this week. I don't want to talk about it. Stupid Polk. Why else everybody could be awesome except Polk?
Oh, my Lord. All right. We got some people catching up with some happy anniversaries for you, Coop. Oh, look, Annie Coop in here. There she says, happy anniversary. How you missed a great one, Cooper Party, man. Where's my invite? Where was it? Must have gotten lost in the mail.
It's a time difference. 3 hours late. It's kind of a spontaneous lunch thing.
You know what? Had I been invited to the cul-de-sac, I will say this at the cul-de-sac.
The only reason
I know where.
Well, here's the thing. The only reason that our get together even happened is because my parents are supposed to fly to Florida and the hurricane delayed their flight. So it was a last minute thing, but it was a nice little Cooper party, wasn't it, on Coop? Let's go.
Yeah.
Laney was the star of the show as always.
Oh, let's see. What else do we got going on here? What is this? What do you think will happen to Greece since Adams is now a Jet? Who's Greece?
I mean, I think their economy is.
Is that Brees, maybe?
I think it's Brees. What do you think happens?
I was like, man, what's going on with the Grecian economy right now?
What's the price of olive oil these days?
You know what a Grecian earn is?
No, I don't.
What's a Grecian earn? About $4.50 an hour.
I knew it was going to be something like that. I thought I was going to learn something. For a moment, I thought I was going to learn something.
No. No learning here. Double A wants to know the PPR, with the half-point PPR trade question. Trade Jonathan Brooks for Dowdle and Jordan Addison. Is it worth having those players for depth?
Nah, keep the upside, man. You're going to carry the water this whole time and let your buddy drink it? Hold on to Jonathan Brooks. Let's go.
Unbelievable. What is this? Xenon giving us his entire. Oh, who do you start? I'll tell you who you start on Thursday.
Yeah,
I'll tell you who you start on. We'll do it on tomorrow's show. No start sits today, guys. This is waivers. We'll splash in some trade talk here.
He does have a trade in there. He does have a trade in there.
And right now I'm trading Love for Hurts. Is that what he said? Right now I'm trading Love for Hurts and AJ for Chase. This a win? I mean, listen, Love for Hurts and AJ for Chase. So he's going from Love and AJ Brown to Jalen Hurts and Jamar Chase. I can't think of a more lateral move than possible.
Why not just trade for Love for Hurts and then you'll have the Hurts AJ stack? Or is this one trade? It sounds like two trades.
I don't know.
We'll do the lineup thing tomorrow, Gito.
Yeah, we'll do the lineup thing tomorrow.
Come back tomorrow, Xenon. We'll hit up all the lineups. Hit them all
up. Do we like Love over Geno rest of season? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem.
They're both good, but Love, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. What do we got here? I got Icy through you. What's up, Icy?
I see.
No IR spots. He's got Olave, Devonta Smith, Godwin, Shakir, Downs on waivers, but would have to drop Moss. I got Jacobs.
Don't drop Moss. Drop Shakir.
I'm not dropping Moss for Downs.
If you're going to drop anybody, drop Shakir for Downs.
Yeah, drop Shakir for Downs. They're kind of, interchangeable parts right there.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's get to some waiver talk here because we're good right now. We're good on these questions. Oh, Greg Martinez. He's getting Kraft for a second-round pick in 2025.
Yeah, I would because, I mean, this is the time where people really, they don't understand the hit rates on these players. The first-round draft pick in your Dynasty League, 50% at best. At best. Second round, 33%. Third round, we're talking about 20% at best. After that, we're talking like 5%, right? So if you are sitting there and saying, do I want a 1/3 dice roll on a player or a player that's already a starting tight end and getting targets? Take the player. Take the player over the second round picks almost always.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get back to the chat. We'll let some more questions pile up. Again, waiver wire talk, some trade talk is fine, especially if you're making room on your roster to, add certain players, stuff like that. Again, keep the lineup stuff till tomorrow. It's only Tuesday, people. We still have like a buttload of injury news that we're still going to have to sort out. Forget about the fact that it's like the Devontae Adams, Russell Wilson morning here. There's a lot of ground to cover here. So start sits, we'll save those. Let's talk some waiver wire action right now. Now you've got your articles. Are they out right now? Are they out as we speak?
They're out.
They're out. So go to fantasyalarm.com.
Let me just double check. Yes, all three are out.
Okay, perfect. So fantasyalarm.com. The must adds one is free, but the streamers and the stashes that you need the subscription for. So again, this code right up there gets you a subscription, free trial, all that fun stuff. We'll start at the QB position here. And let's just kind of roll through it right now. Some of your favorites, some of your must adds. We kind of sprinkled in a little Drake May talk. Well, you sprinkled in a little Drake May talk. I'm sure there are other QBs, though, that you're interested in, Coop.
Yes. So basically, again, we break it down into three different categories. If you're looking for the guy that's probably the safest start for you this week, that's also a decent long-term ad, that's actually not Drake May. Unfortunately, I got to be unbiased here. The guy that was dropped in a lot of leagues is Trevor Lawrence, right? He's widely available, oddly. I was surprised by that. And he gets the Patriots this week. His schedule's pretty good. I mean, you're definitely going to start him this week. And if you go back and watch that game, man, he had four touchdown passes that were dropped in the end zone by Jags players. And he still threw 2 touchdown passes. Evan Ingram's back. He looks good. So that's the play there. Drake May is the biggest upside play, naturally, just because he's a running quarterback and he's an unknown. Russell Wilson, another upside play. And the last upside stash for me would be Bo Nix. He's running the ball a decent amount. He's running the ball a lot more than I thought he would. And he's picked it up a little bit early on. No touchdowns over the first couple games. Then he threw a touchdown pass. Last 2 games, he's had 2 in each. So things are kind of picking up a little bit for him. If you're looking for another deeper, safe start, I mentioned earlier, Eagles have been kind of brutal against the pass. Daniel Jones getting the Eagles this week. Malik Neighbors should be back. Wandale Robinson looks pretty good. Darius Slayton looks really good. Theo Johnson's doing a little something. So, and Daniel Jones, again, he's I don't know. He's got some sort of magic ACL healing juice because he doesn't look any different than he did last year, right? He looks fine. He looks 100% fine. So Daniel Jones. So that's it. The number one ads are Trevor Lawrence and Drake May. The streamers are Trevor Lawrence and Daniel Jones. The stashes, Drake May, Bo Nix. If you really deep league, Jameis Winston.
See, there it is. There
Really,
it is.
I try not to give away all the behind the paywall content, but I mean,
You got to, you know what? You got to throw it out there. I mean,
it's only a matter of time.
because we know that Deshaun
on this
Watson's
show,
got to be on
this show,
borrowed time.
is on borrowed time. On this show, I virtually always give away all the information because you guys come here and you support us. You like it. You like the channel. You subscribe. You retweet the tweets. Like you're doing that for free, so we can give you pretty much all it takes for free. So thank you guys for joining us, and you get special stuff because you guys are special.
So the running back position, definitely an intriguing one right now because you got some good guys that you can add, that you can start. You got some possible streamers to load in there, but I do think what's better right now is you got some really good stashes that I think might lean. So let's start with the guys who are obvious must adds, and I know on your list, obviously Tyrone Tracy. Yeah. We were all excited about that. Should be really interesting. Eagles Giants, right? Because who is it? Jerry Nelson just said a Barkley revenge game, or does Tyrone Tracy try to show everybody that we don't need no Saquon Barkley?
That's right, dude. We have Saquon Barkley at home. His name is Tyrone Tracy.
And his name is Tyrone Tracy.
It's so funny. The two guys in the top of this article are basically the original version and the new version of the converted wide receiver. Antonio Gibson walked so that Tyrone Tracy could run. In terms of the
did Antonio Gibson even walk?
He's walking now, baby.
He walked right out of my fantasy leagues.
He's walking now with the New England Patriots. Again, this is a matter of so Tyrone Tracy's the top ad. He's still available he's only rostered in 45% of leagues on Yahoo and ESPN, meaning more than half of leagues is out there. Sleeper 56%. So Tracy, if he's out there, I'm talking drop 50% of your budget on a guy like that. Antonio Gibson has been he started this week and played the Ramondre Stevenson role. Ramondre Stevenson has a foot issue. Okay. Even when Stevenson was playing, in every game so far, he's gotten at least 7 touches. And not just carries, but a mix of carries and receptions. That's kind of all you can ask for in a streaming starter. And I know that, again, these guys are rostered in a lot of leagues, so I always am cognizant in the main article about including a guy that's not rostered in a lot of leagues. Trey Benson right now rostered in 1% of ESPN leagues. On Yahoo and Sleeper a little more, but Trey Benson actually came out at halftime as the starter. So I haven't seen anything that said James Conner got nicked up. He was just fairly inefficient. They came out at halftime and said, you know what, Trey, you're going to start this drive. And he ended up getting 6 carries on the game. James Conner got 7. We also know James Conner has a history of getting banged up. These guys have been in the stashes article primarily, but anytime they start moving their way, right, we start hearing the rumors of Drake May starting. Howard, for 2 weeks now, has been telling you Russell Wilson could start at any moment, right? We start moving him into the main article. So Trey Benson's in the main article. In the streamers article, I mean, do you want streamers or stashes first, Howard?
I don't care. You dealer's choice, baby. What do you got? Who's most relevant for us right now?
Yeah, so right now would be streamers. And again, Tracy and Gibson are first. I'm looking around and I'm seeing, we know Tyler Algier is getting 40% of the snaps. He's getting carries. That's a guy that's kind of boring but safe. Ty Chandler. Yeah, I know, buddy. But nothing we could do about it. First 3 games, Bijan was getting 80 to 90% of the snaps. Now he's getting 60%. I think it's an AC joint issue that they're basically saying, hey, he's got a little bit of a shoulder going on. Let's limit his touches. So you're getting some Tyler Algier. And I'll tell you what, who also has an AC joint issue, Jordan Mason, now picked up an AC joint, which is a shoulder issue. And again, you play through it, but it ends up being a pain tolerance thing. So sometimes they say, hey, it's 2nd and 1. Do we want to run Bijan? Do we want to run Jordan Mason up against a brick wall on 2nd-and-run, or do we put the backup in and see if he can get it? That's the case here. And Jordan Mason's been ripping him off. Isaac Garendo was ripping him off last week. So Isaac Garendo is a name. And then, of course, Ty Chandler. Keep an eye on Aaron Jones, but Ty Chandler looks all right out there, and he's also been getting work anyway. Even if Aaron Jones is a go with this hip, Ty Chandler's on the streaming radar. Stashes, we don't change these names very often, but you saw why we've been stashing Ray Davis all year.
Yep.
You saw why we were stashing Braylon Allen. The very first name in our article, week 0, before it even started, hit immediately with Jordan Mason, right? Like, we're stashing these guys because they're talented. Other names you got to watch for. Kamani Vidal, big catch this week, right? Dylan Laube is active, and the Raiders just told us they're committed to kind of tanking on this year. This is when you see these guys start getting some looks. The young kid out of UNH, they say, hey, you know what? We're not winning this year. We just traded away Devontae Adams. We're going to trade away Max Crosby. Let's just let this kid play. So Dylan Laube. And then another team that's been doing live tryouts, right? The Broncos, just mixing in different guys all over the place. You know, Devon Vele and Troy Franklin. Audric Estime, now active. He's a new regime player. Javonte Williams is the starter. He's the guy, but these guys haven't been efficient. Keep your eye on Audric Estime. All right. That's as deep as we got. We're gonna go here.
Did you mention Blake Corum? What he did last week?
He's in the article, and he was in last week's article. He's still listed there. Nothing has changed for Blake Corum from last week. It's just a matter of he was on bye week, so he didn't play at all. So no new information is why I didn't feel nothing has changed. But you're right. He should be absolutely mentioned in that crew. And what Howard's alluding to is that he wasn't really being used. Last week, they took Ronnie Rivers and said, you're out. Blake Corum, you're in. Got a bunch of carries. So Blake Corum now, and we've seen it with Sean McVay, right, Howard? He's willing to use 11 guys, same 11 dudes every play. So if Kyren Williams is out, he might just say, okay, you're the guy. 96% snaps.
All right, we'll pause on the waiver talk. We'll get to some wide receivers and some tight ends, must-adds, streamers, stashes. I want to jump back to the chat here real quick, Coop. See if we can't help out the kids. Our boy, Mile High Luke, waiver bid on 2 of this group. He's got Engram. Should he get Hunter Henry? He's got Damian Pierce, Jalen McMillan, Keaton Mitchell, Isaac Garendo.
Yeah, I would go for Henry, even with Engram. Usually, Mile High Luke tells us if this is FFPC or not, so I'm imagining it's not. But if it is, I mean, it's 10 in premium. Those other guys are just
guys,
man. They're just guys. I was really disappointed that Evan Engram left for a couple series there, and Jalen McMillan did not play more. Sterling Shepard did. That was really disappointing to me. But he's probably still my favorite stash of that crew. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Eric sent a trade this morning. He trades Jordan Mason, Tank Bigsby, and Zay Flowers for Tyreek and Singletary.
If you were like 6-0 or 5-1, maybe. But Tyreek, the time period where Tyreek is viable doesn't even start until week 8. When is because they got a bye coming up. They already had a bye, so they had a bye during that during this 4-week period that pushes 2 out. Like, even if 2 says, "Oh, I'm going to play," that's not going to be until week 8 or 9. So if you're a wagon and you can take those risks, then maybe. But Flowers has been good. Flowers look great this week. So I don't know if I do that, Howard.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that. Because again, Singletary, what's the value of Singletary with the way Tyrone Tracy's playing?
Right.
Giants aren't playing for a Super Bowl this year. Giants are playing for their future. Singletary is not the future. He was a great stopgap to see what happens in the beginning of the season. But if he's banged up and the Giants aren't going to be going anywhere, I'd argue stick with Tracy.
I'd argue that the trade of Flowers and Bigsby for Tyreek and Singletary is fair. You throw in Mason in there. You shouldn't have to give up both running backs, definitely.
Yeah, agreed. Hal wants to know how worried he should be with Fields as his QB2 in a super flex. Extremely worried. Like, seriously worried.
Like, very worried. Like at least your Lions are doing well, Hal. Worried.
Small consolation.
That's where I.
Well, they will be once they pick up Max Crosby.
I think there's teams out there. There's bad teams with good defensive players that don't want to play for him out there. It's not just Max Crosby.
And Dunn wants to know if the Chicago defense is one to hold through the bye week.
Matchups after the bye are Washington, Arizona, New England. I think they've been good enough. It's always boils down to who you got to drop in.
Yeah.
Don't drop anyone meaningful over a defense.
Agreed. All right. Mile High Luke, talking FFPC, would you prioritize Kendry Miller, Estime, Sean Tucker, or McMillan looking for upside? Well, I mean,
Estimate.
I think Estime's got the most upside, right? He's the person who can probably crack the lineup first. Kendry Miller, I would set him as a contingency pick because, listen, Kamara's got a hand issue now. He's been dealing with a back thing going on. Kendry Miller, not Jamal Williams, is going to end up being like that running back. I'm sure that him and Dennis Allen will kind of iron some stuff out that they had through the preseason. But I think that it would be Estime first and then Kendry Miller for me second.
Yeah, there's still some hope in Kendry Miller, just like there was for Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby last year, he was making mistakes. That was the problem. The coaches didn't like the mistakes he was making. That's why he didn't play. It's not that he wasn't talented. And same with Kendry Miller. He can't stay healthy. But no one's really saying that this guy sucks. They're just saying that he can't get on the field. So maybe when he's on the field, he'll actually be good.
Daz wants to know Estime or Vidal.
Vidal is now that Gus Edwards is out. Vidal is much closer to a meaningful role than Estime. Estime is still just a thought rattling around in Sean Payton's brain.
Yeah. Here we go. KJ Frederick says he owns Jordan Mason and J.K. Dobbins for the rest of the season. Should I try to handcuff one of them off waivers or go after Christian Watson instead?
Christian Watson, man. Dontavian Wicks is hurt. The rotation, for as long as Wicks is out,
and can't catch a pass and has hands made out of buttered stones. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it.
There you go. And Christian Watson scored a big old touchdown this week, which is what we like to see. Christian Watson quietly has the most touchdowns from that draft class, a draft class that includes Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Jameson Williams. Like, dude just scores touchdowns. What do you want me to do?
Mile High Luke, another FFPC team. He needs to cut one or two of these. Judy, nervous about dropping him before Cooper news. Wicks, Emmanuel Wilson, Marshawn Lloyd, Whittington, and then either add Keaton Mitchell, Amir Abdullah, or Jalen McMillan. Well, I kind of feel like you're just spinning your wheels here.
Right, yeah. Don't add Amir Abdullah.
Yeah. And I mean, why add Keaton Mitchell right now when you've already got, right. I'm not going to give up the tandem there for Green Bay. I mean, you could probably maybe cut Wicks for Keaton Mitchell. I'm not interested in Wicks.
When they asked about Keaton Mitchell, John Harbaugh said that he's on pace to return. And then they asked him what that means. He said, not close enough to talk about. That's what he said like a week ago. So, and they haven't even taken him off IR. So they haven't even, it's a 21-day window once they activate your window. So they're saying right now, it's too risky to even say this guy is going to play within 3 weeks, right? So that'll tell you everything you need. They activated the window for Chubb right away and then didn't even activate him to play for a little bit. And he's just finally going to play next week. So Keaton Mitchell is multiple weeks away.
Mark Fernari wants to know, dump Sherman for Benson. It's actually Trey Sermon. Sermon for Benson?
Sermon. Yeah. Trey Sermon is not a good football player.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Let's see. Drop Jeremy McNichols for Sean Tucker.
That I would do because Austin Eckler looked good. And they're redundant. If McNichols needs Eckler to get hurt, not Brian Robinson to get hurt.
Yeah. All Morphle says Bowers tight end 1 rest of the season. Sure.
I have Trey McBride, but no arguments. The top tier is McBride, Bowers, and you have to throw some respect on Kelsey's name. He woke up from his slumber once Rashee Rice got hurt, and now he's like, I guess I got to be a star again. And now he's catching 7 passes every game, which is pretty much all you need in this world, right?
Greg Martinez says, drop, I'm assuming that's Dalvin Cook. Oh, thanks, GM.
Yeah.
For Garendo, yes, make that move. I'm not gonna pile on to the GM and Cowboys homerism.
When are we gonna see Dalvin? I don't know if we're ever gonna see Dalvin.
You're not gonna see Dalvin.
I think he's got a pretty serious permanent shoulder problem.
Cap for life with the all caps here. Just got offered Devonta Smith for Devonta Adams. Would you pull the trigger? No, I'm keeping Devonta Adams now.
Yes.
Definitely keeping Devonta Adams. He's shouting at you. Do I deal Schultz and Achane and Darnold for Burrow and Madison?
But yeah, I guess I get the username Cap for life. So at
Yeah.
least he's sticking by his code there. Do I deal Schultz?
Staying on brand here.
Yeah. Burrow and Madison. No. Stick with Achane and Darnold. Darnold's been good. Darnold's getting TJ Hawkinson back at some point. Darnold kind of rules, dude.
Shmuley in the house wants to know what to do with Kincaid.
I don't know, man.
You keep Kincaid and you play him every single week, just like every other tight end out there. Like instead of chasing last week's points or chasing who you think could possibly be the big streamer this week, you might as well just leave Dalton Kincaid in there because he's going to have better weeks, probably more often than you just trying to like stream these guys. I can't do it.
Your only focus, if you have Kincaid, should be on if you're going to use one bench spot on a tight end, only on the highest risk, highest upside guys. Hunter Henry, maybe, but the reality is you're waiting for someone to get hurt. The way we got Trey McBride last year. At this moment last year, Howard, Trey McBride wasn't even crossing our mind in redraft because Zach Ertz had 40 targets through 6 weeks, and then he got hurt. Isaiah Likely. Like those are the guys that you might add at some point. Right now, there's really not enough upside out there. I mean, who are you gonna add? Lucas Kroll?
No. Before we continue here, I'm just gonna show you a little something here, Coop. I'm gonna share it with you. Share it with everybody. Here you go. Watch here in the middle. Oh, look who just photobombed the Pat McAfee show here.
Wow.
What a shocker. Devontae Adams in there with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh boy.
Dude, I feel so dirty and so disgusting right now as a Jets fan. I almost want to vomit.
If Joe Douglas if this works out for them, if Joe Douglas gets any credit at all for this, that's a joke.
It's brutal. Cap for life back in here. Bengals, Commanders, or Eagles? I think we said we were going to stream the Bengals this week, right?
Yeah. We didn't talk about the Commanders.
We did not talk about the Commanders.
Yeah, they are playing Carolina. They did just have a big injury. I got to pull.
Jonathan Allen. They lost defensive tackle Jonathan Allen.
Yeah. I think I'm still going with Bengals.
Yeah.
Who has the most utility moving forward? Bengals following week have the Eagles, which is not good. Eagles have the Bengals. So yeah, I mean like no stupid. Oh, well, dude, my brain is cooked. My brain is cooked. Dude, you cannot have Devonta Adams trade and Russell Wilson start same morning, dude. My brain is cooked. The Washington then plays the Bears, who have also been good. So just go with the best start for this week, which is whoever's playing the Browns. That is the.
All right, let's rapid fire these questions because we still got to talk some wide receivers here to take a look at. Hold Mike Williams? I say no. Here we go. I've got Kittle. Want to pick up Engram so I can trade Kittle. Okay, go for it, Shmuley.
Do that. Great.
I mean, is that why he was asking about Dalton Kincaid?
Yeah, I mean, if you can pick up Engram, then do that immediately. You can drop. Yeah, you can. Engram just got 10 targets his first game back. You can.
If you're talking like you have Kincaid and you have Kittle, and you want to pick up Engram.
Might be different leagues, but
different leagues.
If you have Engram, Kittle, and Kincaid, then you can drop Kincaid.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. Let's just go to the waiver. Yeah, let's talk waiver wire wide receivers. That was too much high end tight end. I want to drop and get rid of guys that my brain can't handle it.
The defense question obviously fried my brain. All right, here we go. Wide receivers. If Josh Downs is available in your league, add him. It's ridiculous that he's still out there in 50% of leagues. Drop 50% of your budget. This guy got 9 targets, 12 targets, 9 targets. Add Josh Downs. I don't care where the quarterback is. Add him. Other guys, Juju Smith-Schuster, somehow only rostered in 33% of leagues on Yahoo. Add him. Add him right now. barring a trade of some kind, and one of the biggest trade options just got moved to a different team, Juju is going to be a focal point of this team. Packers wide receivers, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, add them. All right. If you're in a deeper league, the guy that I actually like best right now is an old favorite of ours, Howard, available in very deep leagues, available in all leagues, Noah Brown. Okay. They've been looking for a second pass catcher over there. Zach Ertz is not cutting it. Luke McCaffrey is not cutting it. Diami Brown is just a field stretcher. Noah Brown, second most targets on the team, ran the second most routes on the team. He did the same thing before he got hurt. So he came out, ran the second most routes, missed a game, came right back in and took that job back. Noah Brown creeping up on an offense that we all of a sudden like. Okay. For streamers this week, Demario Douglas. Okay. He got a ton of targets. He's playing the Jaguars, and their safeties are a mess. They ran zone defense from the 3-yard line this weekend, Howard. I was like, crazy behavior. But I mean, Demario Douglas would chew that up. Other guys, our guys Mason Tipton and Bub Means. Now that Rashid Shaheed is likely dealing with a knee, he's probably out. Bub Means is almost certainly going to play split end this week. We talked about this. Very, very, very rare for a guy to suffer a concussion on Sunday and then play on Thursday. I think Josh Wagner said one time it might have happened, Howard.
Yeah,
but
one.
Yeah, at most, which is one means almost never.
Almost never.
Pretty much never. It was probably a clerical error of some kind. So Bub Means probably got to be in there for streamers. And then for stashes, we're talking the deeper plays. Jalen Polk is still a stash, but you cannot start him. I made that mistake last week. Broncos players, they are doing live tryouts. You're seeing Troy Franklin played 60% of snaps for the first time. Devon Vele played 60% of snaps for the first time. Keep an eye on these players. And then we got a quarterback change for the Steelers. Roman Wilson was active for the first time. Van Jefferson got 0.0 targets this week. So Roman Wilson is the guy that I would like to see play. Again, cannot possibly trust him. He's a stash.
All right. Some quick tight end thoughts for everybody. What do you got?
Hunter Henry is the tight end to add across the board. Pretty much the only one I'm really going in on. Streamers, Juwan Johnson has to be on the radar. We're talking a guy that was playing 30 and 40% of the snaps for the first 3 games. Last 3 games, 60%, 79%, 77% of the snaps. No Rashid Shaheed, no Chris Olave. You can only throw the ball to Bub Means and Mason Tipton so many times. So Juwan Johnson, I think, is going to get some looks. Colby Parkinson, 20 targets over the last 2 games. Don't expect 13 targets. Don't expect 7 targets. You might get a couple. Jatavian Sanders, if Tommy Tremble is out, we just used him this week in DFS. 7 targets, 5 catches at 2,600. We'll take that. And then for stashes, I mean, we're talking very deep stashes. Lucas Kroll actually got 75% route participation. So he's a guy that actually got some usage. And then Ben Sennett is a guy where if something happens to Zach Ertz, he could get some usage. And I will mention a fan favorite that Howard is in the chat.
I'm already writing inside the doc that you guys can't see. I'm
highlighting it. He's highlighting it, putting it in red. But Hayden Hurst hurt his groin. Will Disley has suffered 3 major leg injuries, including a broken leg that Pete Carroll described it as one he had never seen before. Okay, so this is a blocking tight end. Stone Cold Smart. The Stone Cold Stunner, former quarterback, converted to wide receiver, converted to tight end. Both his parents were SEC basketball players. Stone Smart, it's time for him to get some looks. All right. We're talking deep, crazy deep dynasty with a taxi squad deep. But his name must be said.
All right.
Kroll Warrior King, Stone Cold Smart. Ooh.
All right. Before we get on out of here, Shmuley did give us some clarity here a little bit. He wants to know what to do with Dalton Kincaid because Evan Engram is available. And then in the other league, he's got George Kittle and Evan Engram is available.
Okay, yeah. Pick up Evan Engram in both leagues. Don't drop Kittle to pick up Engram.
Don't drop Kincaid either.
Don't drop Kincaid either. Yeah, just add him. Make sure you have him. And then start him against the Patriots because Jabril Peppers is on the commissioner exempt list and Kyle Duggar is clearly not healthy.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Again, we thank you so much for tuning in and joining us here on the show. Again, Coop's articles are all over at fantasyalarm.com. My articles are there as well. You can hear the 2 of us on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern all this week, except for Friday when Coop's wife finally gets to celebrate her wedding anniversary. So mazel tov on that one there. If you don't have a subscription to Fantasy Alarm, do yourself a favor. Well, we're still running out this 7-day free trial. Just take advantage of it and hit that QR code right up top here. This one here, or just go to fantasyalarm.com/all-pro. Sign up for the monthly or the annual, and then you'll get that 7-day free trial immediately, which means that all of our football content this week would be free for all of you. So join us in the Discord, join us on SiriusXM, join us on the Fantasy Alarm website, you name it, we got it. For Andrew Cooper, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Alarm Fantasy Football.